Good evening. Welcome back to my no-name channel. My name is Bruce, and this is another Bali COVID-19 update for December 20th, 2020. Okay, let's get started. Numbers: 96 new cases today. That gives us a total of 16,229 and 14,758 recovered, 481 deaths, and we're still under 1,000 for the active cases, 990. All of the 96 cases are Indonesians, 93 local transmissions, 3 are domestic imports, and the numbers by Regency: Denpasar 24, Tabanan 24, Badung 23, Gianyar 14, Buleleng 4, Jembrana 2, Bangli 2, Klungkung 2, and Karangasem 1. Okay, so this has been a week where numbers have been up over 100 the last 3 or 4 days. Today, just a little below 96. And Indonesia leads Southeast Asia with the total number of cases and the number of deaths. So, as you'll see in a minute, the government is really putting another push to try to get this under control, so they can get back to business. So, well, let's see. Let's start with holiday update. Okay, so holidays in Bali. What about travel? We're going to start with travel first. So last week I told you that the change in government policy on holiday celebrations, and so this has changed again, and it may change again, I don't know. We still have a week before Christmas, well, a little less than a week, and then another week for New Year's. So the government has decided to implement strict health protocols for trips to Bali because, as I said last week, we're expecting 380,000 plus domestic tourists. Good news for the tourism industry in Bali. And, well, the government was worried about that, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The change here, this is what happened earlier in the week. So the Bali Governor Circular Letter number 2021-2020 says that people entering by air need to have a PCR test at the latest 2 days prior to departure. And those using other forms, like land or sea, have to have a negative antigen rapid test result. And this would be valid from December 18th to January 8th. Well, this caused immediate feedback. And, well, let me tell you what happened. Yeah, so the feedback, what is the feedback? So according to the Indonesian Hotel and Restaurant Association, the PHRI, the new regulations caused 133,000 requests for refunds from the airlines. Remember, so we had over 380,000 supposed to come in, and there's 133,000 requests for refunds. And the Coordinated Maritime Affairs and Investment Minister, Pak Luhut, and you've heard me mention him many times, and you'll hear me mention him a few more times tonight, said that this decision was based on the continual rise in COVID-19 cases, particularly after the long 5-day holiday week at the end of October, which I told you about then. So, according to PHRI Chairman Pak Sukumdani, online travel agencies could lose as much as 317 billion rupiahs, about $22.4 million. And the Balinese economy could lose 3 times that amount. From canceled plans, However, Garuda Airlines said, we're not all that worried because we think the number of booking cancellations is going to be low. 133,000 doesn't seem that low. Okay, so that was the situation, right? There was pandemonium. Everybody was worried. Social media was full of things. Oh my God, I have to change my plans. What's going to happen to Bali? And it looked bad. Well, in response to this quick and intense reaction to the 2-day timeline, the government decided to change it to 7 days and change the starting date to December 19th. Okay, so it was decided to change this in order to help the economy without compromising safety. And this is, as of today, the situation. All flight passengers to Bali have to have a negative PCR test 7 days prior to departure. Passengers using land and sea transport to and from Bali must have a negative antigen test no later than 7 days before departure. Now, are those being checked? Okay, so there was a story in Jackie Pomeroy's Facebook COVID-19 page, which is linked below and which I frequently reference because it's so good. She was talking about a friend of hers who came in and he went through testing there. If you don't have a test, you need to bring a letter. If you don't have a letter, what you can do is take the test. There's a Kimia Pharma about 20 meters from where you check in at the ferry in in Jawa, and you go and you get a test, and it's 250,000 rupiah, and you get the results back in about 20 minutes. Okay, and so you're good to go. Other people have said on this same forum, well, I know people that have come at night and nobody's checked them, and so, well, it's not clear. Nighttime does tend to be, people do tend to be a little more lax about things. So, do you need to get tested if you're coming here from Java or some? Yes, get tested. It's the safest thing to do. It's the right thing to do. So, and let's see, what else? Oh, so the rapid antibody test. Now, there's a difference between antigen and antibody, and there's a link below that explains that. I'm not going to go into that now. Are no longer valid. And the maximum retail price for an antigen test is supposed to be 250,000 in Java and 275,000 elsewhere. Why the difference? Don't know. Okay, so that's the situation. Now, there's, I'll put a link to this, if I can find it again. This is a couple, mixed couple, foreign guy and his Balinese wife, who, and I've mentioned their vlog before. They were in Kuta, I guess it was last night, and they did a vlog and packed. It was, traffic was just like the old days before the virus, bumper to bumper. So, a lot of domestic tourists are here already. How many? I don't know. Are there going to be more? Yeah, seems like it. It seems like people are going to continue to come. So that's good news for the local economy. How many of that 133,000 that were supposed to have asked for refunds, how many have changed their mind? I don't know. But it looks like Bali's going to be busy. Now, busy for what? Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Holidays in Bali. What's happening? Earlier, last week, this week, well, this is a new week. So the Bali governor issued a decree forbidding New Year's Eve celebrations, and strict safety measures are in effect, according to his decree, all over the island, and anyone defying government orders will be penalized. Okay, and to quote him, and so then it was changed. Okay, so that was originally what happened, and then it was changed, and I mentioned this last week in this one, that, okay, you can have celebrations, but only 50% occupancy, and there's going to be fireworks, and everybody was hooray, hooray. And now it's been reversed again. And so every person, this is a quote from the governor, every person, business, actor, manager, organizer, or person in charge of public places and facilities carrying out holiday activities during the Christmas holidays and welcoming the New Year 2021 is strictly prohibited from holding New Year's Eve celebrations, celebration parties, and the like, indoors and outdoors, using firecrackers, fireworks, and the like, and drinking alcohol, end quote. Okay, now the original one that banned things said being drunk in public. Now it's drinking alcohol. I'm assuming, I don't know, I have to go back look at my translation, drinking alcohol in public. Okay, so no parties. So some places, from what I've heard on the social media and the YouTube channels, have said that places have started canceling their Christmas holiday celebrations, Christmas New Year celebrations, and some places haven't. And so there's a question here about trust, and I'm gonna talk about that right now. So another story: Bali's government is preparing to open international tourism. According to a story in the Bali Tribune, the regional and national governments are preparing for the opening of international tourism. The regional secretary of the province of Bali, Dewa Made Indra, said that the government is finalizing preparations, and has been said many times before by many people in the government. Dewa Indra said that the opening of Bali requires trust from the world community that Bali is safe from COVID-19 and has a good system for preventing it. And so these preparations include opening Bali for domestic tourism for this holiday period. And all protocols are going to be followed, because if Bali's careless, he said, in opening, and there's an increase in cases because of the end of the year, this is going to damage the trust that Bali has built up. And this accounts for the requirements on the PCR and rapid antigen test requirements for domestic tourism coming in, along with the ban on social gatherings, fireworks, those kind of celebrations. So the question is then, these are the regulations. Okay, some people like them, some people don't like them. Let's give the government the benefit of the doubt here. They want to open up Bali as soon as possible. Everybody does. The national government does, the local government does, neighborhood, everybody wants to open Bali up as soon as possible. But they want to do it safely. And despite what some people say, people that I've talked to in Korea, China, Japan, Taiwan, the U.S., I don't want to come if there's still a huge problem. Now, some people don't care. We've got a place, and I'm going to talk about this in the next one, we've got a couple of places here where people walk around like there is no problem. Don't wear a mask, don't do social distancing, party all the time. So those people are going to come regardless. But there are other people, and these are more mature people with families, who are concerned about safety. And so that requires not only making reasonable rules and regulations, enforcing them. So, are these going to be enforced? This is going to be the question. Now, every year we watch the fireworks from our roof because we're right by the harbor, and the harbor has big fireworks every year, and we can see the fireworks all over the city from our roof. It's amazing. It's always a great time to watch them. It's just, wow. Is that going to happen this year? I don't know. Fireworks are being sold openly in downtown Singaraja. So, fireworks are going to be going off. Fireworks have been going off all week here anyway. I don't know about other parts of Bali. But, yeah, this is enforcement. And you make the regulations, but you have to enforce them. And this is one of the things that happens here is that you have a lot of rules, and yeah, sometimes they're enforced and sometimes they're not. So, what's going to happen? I don't know. On the national front, Home Minister Tito Karnavian has requested that regional leaders issue regulations banning large crowds and restrict the number of attendees at public rallies and demonstrations in order to flatten the curve of the COVID virus. And so, in addition to following the basic 3M health protocols, mask wearing, hand washing, and physical distancing, the public also needs to avoid large gatherings, he said. And the central government, right, has, as I've mentioned, has announced a national ban on crowd pulling events from December 18th to January 8th, including the New Year's celebrations. And, well, so this is, yeah, this is going on all over the country, right? So nobody is supposed to do any celebrating. There's not going to be any fun in Bali this year for New Year's Eve, at least on a big scale. Now, you can celebrate at home. Nobody's going to do anything. Yeah, have some fun, watch TV, I don't know, play games, drink, do whatever. But social gatherings are forbidden, so we'll see how that works. And along that note, there was, this is titled Deport the Scofflaws. And what is a scofflaw? Scofflaw is a person who willingly violates regulations, figuring that he can get away with it. He or she can get away with it. And so that was just the way I titled it. So there was a biting editorial in the Bali Discovery website arguing that foreign visitors who refuse to follow the health and safety protocols should be detained and deported. The editorial specifically goes after the popular tourist ghetto, Canggu, where you're more likely to see a foreigner than you are an Indonesian. The editorial notes that the efforts of the national, regional, and local governments in containing the virus has been laudatory, so that Bali can once again open to international tourism, get the economy going, and alleviate a lot of the economic pain that people are feeling here. This article includes a number of photos of foreigners on motorbikes, maskless, helmetless, and in one case, shirtless. And the article says, I quote, "We maintain that anyone, particularly a foreign visitor to Bali, who blatantly disregards the efforts of Bali's leaders to protect its citizens and rebuild its tourism industry by riding down public streets in Bali without a helmet or a face mask is well deserving of the boot, an order of deportation applied by Balinese law enforcement and immigration authorities." Okay, they're not mincing words in this editorial. The editorial also noted that Balinese officials are fairly diligent in enforcing the health and safety protocols with citizens, but not so much with foreigners, because they tend to follow this theory that if they're too stern with foreigners, they will go away, they won't want to come here, and the economy will suffer even more than it is. We have, I don't know how many foreigners are still here, but in some places, particularly Canggu, a significant amount. and I would guess Ubud too, although probably less of the digital nomad types in Ubud. And so the editorial further argues that this is a mistake, believing that if the government is strict with these foreigners that aren't following the rules, that people will not come here, foreigners will not come here, investors will not come here. It says that if Balinese authorities deported en masse the scofflaws, it would send a clear signal to international travelers and investors that Bali is indeed a safe travel destination. Will this happen? Not likely. I don't really see that happening. I don't see people being arrested en masse and deported. Now, if you take a look at, I was watching a bunch of YouTube vlogs from foreigners living here and a couple of Indonesians that live here and were traveling around, right? And like I said before, Kuta looked pretty packed, Ubud looked pretty empty. The one that I watched on Canggu, packed with foreigners, nobody wearing a mask, driving down the street without helmets on, and so that's just daily life there. And so, if you're like me, yeah, you say, I think they should be fined and threatened with deportation. And if they don't go along with the rules, it clearly says when you come in that if you violate Indonesia's rules, you will be subject to deportation. And so, yeah, if they're not going to do it, get rid of them. But give them an option. A few threats may work. Now, the interesting thing, one of the interesting things about this is Canggu does not seem to be a hotspot for COVID-19. Okay, so why? I don't know. Maybe there's no cases. Maybe because these people are predominantly young. They have had it and they just don't notice it. They don't feel well. They kind of push it off and it doesn't really affect them. Hard to tell why, but it's one of those situations where you've got a bunch of people together, and so far, I don't know, there's been no connection to spread of COVID-19 in Canggu. So that's an interesting situation, something to think about. I'm not sure why, but I'm one of those people. If you're here in the country, you follow the rules. And those are the rules, whether you like them or not. Like I've said before, I go out walking with Zoe and Masha the bear at least once a week, and I wear a mask, and I really don't like it. My glasses fog up. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. I have a hard time breathing. I'm an old guy. And after an hour of walking, yeah, I can't wait to get home and take my mask off. But, you know, I wear it because it's required and everybody else does here in Singaraja. So that's it. Situation is, you can come to Bali, right? And I guess people are still coming in on the B211 visas, and you've heard about that before. And so if you want to come in, you can come in. If you do, please follow the rules. And for local people, selamat datang. But make sure you take your test, yeah? Jangan lupa. And so, what are you going to do for Christmas and New Year's? I don't know. That is the question. That'll be interesting to see what pops up on social media over the next 2 weeks. Okay, so thanks for stopping by. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Yeah. Take care. Be safe. Be kind to someone today. And won't see you until after Christmas. So if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. And I'll definitely be back before New Year. Bye.